Hey, my name is Leanne, and I'm fascinated with helping women navigate how to eat, move, and care for their bodies. This has taken me on a journey from vegan, keto, high protein to everything in between. I'm a small town holistic nutritionist turned 3-time international bestselling author turned functional medicine practitioner, offering telemedicine services around the globe to women looking to better their health and stop second-guessing themselves. I'm here to teach you how to wade through the wellness noise to get to the good stuff that'll help you achieve your goals. Whether you're seeking relief from chronic ailments, striving for peak performance, or simply eager to live a more vibrant life, this podcast is your go-to resource for actionable advice and inspiration. Together, we'll uncover the interconnectedness of nutrition, movement, sleep, stress management, and mindset, empowering you to make informed choices that support your unique health journey. Think of it as quality time with your bestie mixed with a little med school so you're empowered at your next doctor visit. Get ready to be challenged and encouraged while you learn about your body and how to care for it healthfully. Join me as we embrace vitality, reclaim our innate potential, and discover what it truly means to pursue healthfulness. Hello, friend. I'm so glad that you're here listening to this, and chances are that you've started noticing changes in your body that feel confusing and frustrating and maybe a little bit unfair. I'm speaking about perimenopause. I have been experiencing this for the last year, just slightly, and it's super fun. And so now that I'm going through this personally, I have a lot of thoughts on it, including you're eating the same way that you always have. Maybe you're pushing harder at the gym and the scale won't move, or worse, it's creeping up. And sleep that used to be reliable now feels fragile, and your mood swings are all over the place without warning. And your energy has this unpredictable, super fun rhythm, great one day and gone the next. This is perimenopause. And here's the thing that most of us were never told, that perimenopause isn't just about your period spacing out or even stopping. It can start as early as our mid-30s, and it's driven by real hormonal shifts that touch every single system of our body. Estrogen, progesterone, they begin to fluctuate, let's call it wildly. And not just drop, but just swing up and down. And this is why some days you feel like yourself, and other days you wonder what just hit you and why you're being so crazy. And these changes affect your brain chemistry, your metabolism, your sleep cycles, and even your ability to handle stress. So the frustrating part about this is no one fully prepared me for this. Even as a practitioner, I feel like I wasn't fully mentally prepared for this. I think a lot of us have this idea of one day, sometime in our mid 40s, late 40s, our period will start to space out. We'll miss a couple. And after a year or two, the period will stop. But man, does it start early? It just like puberty, it's a slow, steady burn. And it can start 10 to 15 years before you even see changes to your period. So we're left thinking am I doing something wrong? Why isn't my body responding to things like it used to? And that's where shame and frustration and just feeling alone, feeling broken, feeling lazy, or we're imagining things, we just need to pull ourselves together. What you're experiencing is totally common. And that's really why I continue to create this space of our podcast here, where we can just kind of go through the natural things that are happening in our body and make sense of them. So I want to bring science to this, tools to this, real talk to help you understand what's happening in your body. And more importantly, how to support yourself differently through this new season. So we're going to be digging into why perimenopause feels like such a roller coaster and what you can do beyond just push harder. And how really powerful tools like bioactive peptides and all sorts of things can help you support your body and provide the exact signals that it's missing a little bit right now. So if you're craving clarity and you want to witness me have a mental breakdown, no, I'm just kidding. I won't. I'm good. Then keep listening. Okay, so let's get right into what's happening in your body through perimenopause, because once you understand this piece, the frustrations that you've perhaps been feeling through this experience of perimenopause might go down a touch. So, perimenopause is basically puberty in reverse. Instead of your hormones steadily ramping up like it did when we were teenagers and acting crazy, estrogen and progesterone don't just drop overnight with perimenopause. They just swing up and down. Like one day they're high, one day they're lower, one day they're higher. And so 1 month you might have too much estrogen compared to like the progesterone and the ratio. And then the next month you barely have enough progesterone to like keep your cycle predictable. So this instability is why you might feel like fine 1 week and then out of sorts the following week. So here's some things that hit home for me. This is how I knew that I was experiencing the beginning stages of perimenopause. My sleep went haywire. Like I sleep so good until day 20-ish, 21-ish of my cycle. And like all of a sudden, I can't fall asleep. I can't stay asleep. I can't sleep in. And I'm like, what's wrong with me? I know I need sleep, but my brain won't shut off. I just feel like so awake. What is happening? So progesterone is naturally calming and it supports GABA receptors in the brain, which help you fall asleep and stay asleep. So when progesterone dips, even just an itty bitty bit, your sleep gets like choppy. That's what I want to think. Like it's choppy sleep. And we wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning. We're wired. We can't like get to sleep, but then we can't sleep in. And even though we're exhausted, we can't sleep. Oh, it sucks so bad. Then there's the mood swings. So estrogen directly influences serotonin and dopamine. So these are your feel-good brain chemicals. So when estrogen spikes or crashes, you might feel anxious, irritable, tearful, and even like disconnected from yourself. Your metabolism is also affected because estrogen is a key player in maintaining lean muscle and insulin sensitivity. So as it fluctuates, muscles break down faster, fat storage shifts to the belly, and cravings get louder. This is why you can eat and exercise like the exact same ways that you used to, but all of a sudden you're gaining weight. Another piece is like stress might feel heavier, like more burdensome. So the stress response system, basically the HPA axis, becomes more sensitive because cortisol levels are rising faster and staying higher, which leaves you feeling more wired and tired, like all at the same time. So that's why small stressors that used to just be easy to maintain and just brush off now feel like overwhelming and just too much. The emotion that I would use to describe perimenopause for me is just overwhelmed, just like overwhelmed with everything. Just every little thing is overwhelming. Your body feels different. Like your skin's a little bit drier, or what do they call it? Like crepey skin all of a sudden. What is that? Crepey folded skin situation. Your digestion is a little bit slower. Your joints maybe are a little bit achier. Thank God I haven't had the joint achy thing. And that's because estrogen receptors are everywhere, not just your ovaries. They're in your brain, your bones, your skin, your gut, and they're all feeling the ripple effects of hormonal shifts. So here's the kicker. You can't out diet or out exercise perimenopause shifts. That's one of the most frustrating parts because women tell me all the time, like, I'm doing more than I ever have, but I'm not seeing any results. And that's not failure. That's just biology asking to be supported in a different way than we're providing support. So if you've been beating yourself up, wondering why you just can't get it together, the truth is your body's not broken. It's just different. It's transitioning. And the things you used to do that would work, your biology is changing that you can't do those same things. So you can feel strong again. You can feel steady again. You can feel like yourself again. It just requires a different set of tools. So now we're going to talk about one of the most promising tools that I've found to support women during this season. That's bioactive precision peptides. I also think this conversation is important in the realm of hormone replacement therapy. So before we get to the peptides, I'm just going to cover some of my thoughts on hormone replacement therapy because I'm in the camp of if you're feeling like hot death, and we know that hormones will make you feel more supported and balanced initially, I'm all for it. Do I think that hormone replacement therapy is being overused? Absolutely. Do I think it's a be all end all? No way, man. But oftentimes when we start to see low estrogen symptoms pop up, like the sleep issues, the daytime sleepiness, the brain fog, vaginal dryness, bone loss, lowered libido, dry skin, dry eyes, headaches, that sucks, as does bloating and cramping and leaky bladder and weight gain and decreased HDL and droopy skin. Both estrogen and progesterone supplementation can massively support this. So, the root cause of lowered hormones in experiencing perimenopause is generally because you're experiencing perimenopause, and bringing support directly with hormones can go a long way. However, if one of the reasons why our estrogen is low is because we're not eating well, we're not getting enough sunshine, or when progesterone is low because we're not getting good enough sleep or we're not eating well, then we need to address those things as well. So don't hear me saying just jump on HRT, everything will be great, all you have to do is that. It's not what I'm saying, but it can definitely bring stability to a system that requires it. I'm of the camp that when DHEA is also low, it's really helpful to just bring in DHEA, which will convert into testosterone and estrogen and kind of do what it needs to do naturally. That's what I personally do. That's what I feel best on. It's what many of my clients feel best on. And testosterone, if you choose to play around with testosterone supplementation, I would highly suggest against the pellets just because they have too much of a good thing. And oftentimes we will test way too high in testosterone. It will convert into estrogen, and then we'll have even more and more and more estrogen excess issues, which can cause equally as many problems. So now that we know why perimenopause can feel so chaotic, we've talked a little bit about hormone replacement therapy and its role. Let's talk about what we can actually do to set a solid base throughout perimenopause. And I do believe that's where peptides come in, and why a large majority of the clients that I work with and customers that use the bioactive precision peptides do really well on them while experiencing perimenopause. So peptides might sound intimidating, but at their core, they're very simple. They are short chain amino acids. It's a bunch of different amino acids brought together in short chains. It's exactly the same building blocks that make up proteins, but unlike a full protein, peptides act like tiny messengers. So they travel throughout the body, they bind to specific receptors on your cells, and they tell your biology what to do. In order to pass through the cellular membrane, we do need proper hydration, which is why all the peptide protocols that I put together have some form of electrolyte, so we can make sure that the peptides that we're taking are actually doing what we want them to do. Now, the beauty of this is that instead of forcing your body in a certain way, like synthetic hormones or synthetic peptides will do, the bioactive precision peptides act more like reminders and suggestions. They gently nudge your body to pick up a process that may have slowed down on or rebalance a system that's been thrown off by fluctuating hormones. So let's give some examples here. Certain peptides can activate pathways that support muscle growth and repair by stimulating muscle protein synthesis. And that's huge. When estrogen starts to decline, it will accelerate muscle loss. So when we start to experience perimenopause, and we're starting to get the bigger bellies and the softer bodies, it's because estrogen's declining, and therefore muscle growth is declining. The ability to hold muscle is declining, and we need to boost muscle protein synthesis, boost repair, and boost stabilization of muscle, because that's going to help metabolism overall. Other peptides can influence neurotransmitter activity, specifically, obviously, in the brain, supporting serotonin and dopamine levels to create a calm, anxious-free, improved mood, sharpened focus situation, which when we talk about the changes that can happen in a body experiencing perimenopause, we talked about how estrogen directly influences serotonin and dopamine, which are those feel-good brain chemicals. So if we can use a peptide to regulate those as we stabilize with estrogen and other estrogen supporting factors, then all of a sudden we have a stable environment, which I don't know about you, but experiencing perimenopause, stability is the name of the game. Now, of course, when we think about decreased estrogen, obviously like chronic inflammation in the case of infections and toxicities and stress and nutrient imbalances do play a role. So if you know that you have like a whole bunch of stuff going on, it's important to ask yourself, what are the root causes of this? While also understanding that when we can bring stability to those neurotransmitters, we can sharpen our focus, we can improve the mood, we can calm the anxiety, and that goes such a long way to creating that stability that we all long for while we're experiencing perimenopause. So some other peptides work at the level of insulin sensitivity and insulin regulation, helping cells use glucose more efficiently. So you're not riding the blood sugar roller coaster that leads to cravings and stubborn weight gain. So previously we talked about how when those hormones are fluctuating, we're going to have a harder time not only maintaining lean muscle, but also insulin sensitivity. So as this is fluctuating, muscles are breaking down. So if not only we can stop the fat storage, but we can also regulate muscle breakdown, like get that to stop, regulate insulin a lot better, then all of a sudden we have, again, a stable system. And other bioactive peptides will support mitochondrial function, which is how your cells make energy. So the better your mitochondria, the less fatigue and the more resilience you'll have day to day. So here's what sets apart bioactive precision peptides and why I recommend them as opposed to a therapeutic option. With bioactive peptides, they're plant-based. You don't need a needle or a prescription or like a complicated protocol or a full body MRI to ensure that you don't have any tumors. Like we can get into the weeds with the therapeutic peptides. We don't have to worry about the heart muscle weakening or, osteoporosis setting in. They're designed to be taken orally, either like a quick like melt away under your tongue or in a drink. And then from there, they communicate directly with your biology. They don't override biology. And that's another big difference between therapeutic versus bioactive peptides. In the case of therapeutic peptides, they're overriding it. And I've had an experience on therapeutic peptides where it overrode my body into a not so fun place and took me a little bit to get over it. So this is why bioactive peptides are a powerful option during perimenopause, because at this point, stability is the name of the game. You don't need another crash diet. You don't need another punishing workout plan or a lecture about trying harder. Like we got it dialed in. You need tools that work with your biology as it's changing, as you work on stabilizing the hormone aspect, the lifestyle aspect, and the peptides are one of the cleanest, like smartest ways that I found to do exactly that. Like if you ask me, what is the one peptide that as a perimenopause woman I need? I'm going to tell you Fit Peptide because it aligns with the muscle growth and repair piece, which is going to regulate your metabolism, which is going to remove the acceleration of muscle loss. And when we have adequate muscle, we have better insulin sensitivity, we have better glucose control. We're not doing the blood sugar roller coaster highs and lows, and also addresses the mitochondrial piece. So like from the perspective of less is best, fit and hydrated, fully the way to go. And we're going to talk about the specific peptide stacks and the most effective during perimenopause. So like, let's get right into it. So there's a link in the show notes, but when you go to healthfulpursuit.com/make, you can check out the peptides that I'm about to mention. I mentioned one previously, Fit, and a support product, Hydrated. And we're just going to be going through each one, how they target, what you might be feeling that would align with this throughout perimenopause, and how to adapt instead of like struggle through this whole process. So let's start with Lean. So lean is great if cravings or stubborn belly fat, or we have that feeling of being puffy. Lean is definitely for you. The science here is mostly about supporting insulin and leptin sensitivity, basically two hormones that regulate how your body uses and stores energy. So when these signals get out of balance, your cells basically stop responding properly. And this can lead to fat storage around the midsection and non-stop hunger cues. So Lean's peptide sequence reminds your body how to regulate those signals and help to reduce visceral fat and really help with the calming of the cravings. It's using it without stimulants or the muscle loss that you'd see with crash diets or like other therapeutic peptide options that people are microdosing, GLP-1s. So with Lean, I find a lot of women hear me talk about it, look at the product, and they're like, I'm just going to get going with Lean. If there's one peptide product to start with, I would not be just Lean. If you want to do 3, I would do Lean, Fit, Hydrated. If you want to do 2, I would do Fit and Hydrated. If you want to do 1, I would just do Fit. You're going to see far more results on Fit, even though people think, well, Fit, I'm not working out. How could I possibly? That's not going to work for me because I don't move my body. You need to maintain your muscle. Muscle maintenance is by far the most important goal that you need to have as we're experiencing perimenopause. So one of the most frustrating things about perimenopause is really watching your hard-earned muscle fade quick and be hard to gain fast. And that's because estrogen normally protects muscle and bone tissue. And without it, muscle breakdown really speeds up. So fit peptides stimulate protein synthesis pathways like mTOR that are absolutely essential for muscle repair and muscle growth. So that means your workouts become more effective. And even if you don't work out, the muscle that you just have on your body is not being deteriorated. So again, absolutely without a doubt, whether you work out or not, fit 100%. Like 100%, if there's one product that you walk away with and you're like, I'm going to give this a try. I like the idea of peptides. I like that they are bioactive messengers for my body. I want to maintain my metabolism. I want to work on muscle repair, maybe even muscle growth if you're wanting to work out. I want to reduce inflammation. It's definitely the one for you. So Calm is a support product. It does not have peptides in it, but it's part of the line of peptides because I find that nervous system dysregulation and neurotransmitter balance like GABA, serotonin, dopamine are all necessary for proper healing. So if you're lying awake at 2 a.m. with your mind absolutely racing or stress feels like heavier than it used to, Calm is a game changer. Before I sat down to do all these podcasts back to back to back to back to back to back to back, I got a big bottle of water and I took my Calm right before I started recording to just regulate myself because this product works on the neurotransmitter systems rather in the brain. You got your serotonin, your GABA, your dopamine. They lower cortisol's grip on the nervous system. So it helps you move out of the fight or flight and just like back into balance. So we're going to have deeper sleep, less anxiety, like a grounded sense of calm that just helps you handle life without totally crashing and burning. And then we have focused. So where focused peptide is really great is where brain fog happens with perimenopause. It's one of the most common complaints of perimenopause, like losing words mid-sentence, struggling to concentrate, feeling mentally flat. Focused peptides target mitochondrial health and neuronal signaling, supporting your brain's ability to produce energy and resist oxidative stress. So some of the sequences also act as adaptogens for your brain, nootropics for balancing. It also works to improve concentration, mental stamina, and even protecting against blue light stress from screens. So it's like giving your brain back its sharp edge. Now, one of the reasons why our brain function can struggle when we're experiencing perimenopause is the sleep aspect. So we want to work on sleep while also bolstering mitochondrial health and neuronal signaling so that we can improve overall concentration, understanding that concentration is best balanced through, of course, the food that we're eating and the sleep we're trying to get. right? Last but certainly not least is a support product called Hydrated. It's an electrolyte, and this might sound simple and like so overdone, but it's really foundational. So hydration is at the cellular level. So this is what allows the peptides and really all nutrients to do their job. So when estrogen fluctuates, it alters how your cells manage water and electrolytes, leaving you feeling more dehydrated than ever before, right? So Hydrated combines electrolytes with glycine and coconut water powder for proper hydration so that your cells can actually use the peptides that you're using. So do you remember a little bit ago where we were talking about how so many individuals just grab lean, but I wish that they would grab fit and hydrated. And if they really want to go the next level, lean. And there's actually a kit of these three that I recommend all the time called Muscle and Metabolic. Did you know that around 90% of your body's energy is produced by the mitochondria, these tiny engines inside of every cell? But as we age, mitochondrial function declines, energy drops, and muscle strength fades. Even skin resilience takes a hit. That's where Timeline Nutrition comes in. They've developed MitoPure, a highly pure, patented form of urolithin A, a postbiotic nutrient that activates a process called mitophagy. This is your body's natural way of recycling damaged mitochondria, renewing cellular energy from the inside out. Clinical trials show that MitoPure can increase muscle strength, boost cellular energy, and support skin health, all by targeting the root of aging, your cells. Now, for the first time ever, you can try Timeline with an exclusive 20% off your first order. Go to timeline.com/KDP and use the code KDP at checkout. That's timeline.com/KDP for 20% off your first order. So now that we kind of have a feel for what each peptide does within the bioactive precision peptide space, let's talk about why I specifically choose Make. Because let's be honest, like there are a lot of supplements out there that promise the world. And I am probably the first one to be like, whoa, hold on. What's your goal? What are you working toward? If you are experiencing perimenopause and you're trying to get a handle on things, do I think that you need all the peptides? Absolutely not. Do I think that you could benefit from fit? I would say 85% of people would benefit from fit while experiencing perimenopause. Could that be also combined with hydrated? Absolutely. So it works well. I think lean is a really great product if we were to just be at a standstill when it comes to diet shifts and you've kind of tried everything, your diet's super clean and you want to go the next level. If you have massive amounts of changes you need to make to diet, I would do those before I started the lean product. I think focus plays a role, especially in individuals that are struggling through the motivation and the brain fog so much so that they can't move forward with any plans. I would say Energize is part of that too. I didn't bring this up specifically in relation to perimenopause conversation because I don't think that that's the product that like moves the needle. And then Calm, I think this alongside Fit is such a great combination, especially when we're dealing with nervous system dysregulation through the perimenopause experience. So the reason why I choose Make is because the peptides are bioactive and plant-based. They're not synthetic hormones. They're not synthetic peptides. They're not lab-created chemicals designed to override your biology. So they're sequences of amino acids derived from plants designed to work with your body's signaling pathways. Like in the case of sermorelin, which is a peptide that I use to try to build muscle, it increased my human growth hormone to the point that I was getting severe joint pain, to the point that if somebody touched me, I would be in incredible pain. And so that's overriding your signals to the point where it's just overriding the entire pathway. Whereas with bioactive precision peptides, they're working with your body signaling pathways. So we're not, losing muscle mass or losing heart mass or affecting bone structure. Like we don't want to mess around with that. And so because they're plant-based, because they're oral-based, that also means no needles, no prescriptions, no worrying about the side effects from other replacements or serious therapeutic peptides. Like I've had clients on therapeutic peptides paying $400 to $800 a month on one peptide. So natural communication is something your body understands. Unnatural communication is necessary in some cases, but it's a slippery slope and can be quite challenging. Another reason why I choose Make peptides is because they're incredibly targeted. So Make uses AI-driven research to identify and extract the peptide sequences that activate or calm the very specific pathways in your body. So think of it like a lock and key. Like instead of dumping in a broad nutrient, hoping that your body uses it, these peptides fit perfectly into the receptor sites of the cells and turning on the exact process that needs support. I will say, like, for example, in the case of lean peptide, if you're dealing with severe leptin resistance and insulin resistance, you're still eating pizza and Diet Coke and just trash food, bringing in lean is not going to like move the needle to the point where you're going to see a miraculous change in a month. Like, I think it creates the space to start making better changes and better decisions over time. And with proper diet changes, we can start to see changes in cravings and blood sugar. So like, my experience in being a practitioner is oftentimes people are looking for that one hit that's just going to solve all their problems and the magic pill that's going to move it forward. If we want to do it responsibly, we have to put the work in some regard, whether it be diet, lifestyle, nervous system, supplementation, everything needs to be dialed in for you. And I think where the bioactive precision peptides do a great job of this is making sure that the signal that the body is getting is clear, precise, and strong enough to be heard. Yet the most common pattern I see is women choosing the lean peptide, thinking that if I take this for 3 months, it's totally going to change my life. And I just want to be very clear that is not what I'm saying. I think starting with fit, adding hydrated, doing a third lean option, or even just calm if you're not dealing with insulin issues or leptin issues could be a really good combination. And then as you start to feel more balanced, more focused, less lofty, less overwhelmed, less anxious, you can start to make better choices for yourself. And those things add up. Third reason why I choose Make is the purity and safety are a non-negotiable for this company. These formulas have a never list that keeps all the junk out, like no byproducts, no artificial additives, no fillers, like everything is clean, clinically studied. The science team is on point. They're accessible and it's designed to be taken daily without stressing out liver, gut, and when it comes to therapeutic peptides or even any allopathic practice, you always need to think like, what are we robbing? It's a rob Peter to pay Paul situation. And in the case of bioactive precision peptides, we don't have that. It's like, just pay Paul. Like, there's no robbing anywhere. It's just an ability to shift the way that the directive that your body has. And they're not injected. They're convenient enough that we can stick with them and they taste fabulous. So here's what I think really sets Make apart and why it's very rare that I am willing to plant my flag on a hill and be like, look, I'm using this clinically. I'm using this personally. I love this product. I'm getting my friends on it, my family on it. Like, this stuff is key, is because it was built for women in this exact stage of life. Like, this isn't a generic supplement line. This is a well thought through system. These formulations were really designed to support the unique biological shifts of perimenopause and beyond. They don't say that, but as a practitioner going through all the testimonials of thousands of people that I've read and customers that are telling me, these are perimenopause ladies, like metabolism changes, mood swings, brain fog, stress sensitivity, cellular hydration. We are not being told to just like eat less, move more, or just deal with it. This is a product that's created for the unique challenges that we have as we experience this next phase of our life. And when I look at all of this together, the clean ingredients, the science-backed driven design, the woman-centered approach, even the affiliate structure, like as an affiliate, it's important for me when I'm recommending a product that the product is solid, that the customer service is on point, that I can provide the sort of service that I would want to receive in a product that I am spending money on. And that takes it to the next level for me. Not only are you cared for, but individuals who love the product, who share the product are cared for. And that means a lot to me because the last thing that I want to do is recommend a product and the customer service sucks. And say you have a bad experience with the product or it doesn't work for you, I want you to be able to get a refund and send it back and like be okay, right? I think because perimenopause is not a time to gamble with guesswork, I want to do a better job at sharing resources as it relates to perimenopause supports. And this is one of many that I hope to do. But since we're on the topic of perimenopause, I think we should also talk about the movement, stress, sleep, nutrition aspect. Peptides are powerful, but they're not magic on their own. They're amplifiers. And although there are individuals online that share various things and they say that if you take this 3-part system, it's going to change your life, I think that peptides have the ability to make that shift. However, it's not a solo shift. They work best when there's a foundation in place or when there's an intention of a foundation. I oftentimes call this like creating space. Sometimes we need the motivation, drive, the boost, more sleep in order to like start making better decisions for ourselves. I think a peptide stack that could be really helpful for that sort of conundrum would be starting with energized, focused, and calm, and some sort of electrolyte product or hydrated, doing that for like 2 or 3 months, like getting your footing and then moving into like the fit, lean, hydrated, calm combination of just like, I think the brain fog for many of us and the lack of motivation as we're experiencing perimenopause can stop us from being able to make any decisions. We have decision fatigue. We're exhausted. We're not getting enough sleep. We're not thinking rightly. Our moods are all over the place and we need to create a pause. Now, nutrition, movement, stress regulation, sleep, these are all important aspects of the conversation. Like think of peptides as flipping the right switches in your biology, but you still have to make sure that the house wiring is working. And so that's where nutrition, movement, stress, sleep, environmental factors come in. So let's talk about nutrition. During perimenopause, protein needs to climb because estrogen isn't protecting your muscle the way that it used to be. And so our muscle protein synthesis power actually decreases. So we want to aim close to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight that we have daily. Now, if your weight is over 175 to 200 pounds, I would use your height in centimeters as your goal in grams for protein. So let's say you are 169 centimeters tall. I would aim for 169 grams of protein. So we want to pair your carbs with protein. We want to pair your healthy fats with protein. This will keep your blood sugar steady. So no more riding the glucose like roller coaster ridiculousness. This is not a time where you're able to have Slim Jims and a Diet Coke as a snack and feel okay. It's just your body is more sensitive and we got to deal with it. And we got to look at our micronutrients, magnesium, zinc, B vitamins, and make sure that the foods that we're eating align with the goals that we have. The more whole foods, the better off we are, right? We know this. It's just the doing it part. And so if you're lacking that motivation, you can't even start, that focused, calm, energized stack could be really good to start with to just create the pause that you need to get some motivation going. Stress and sleep. So this is often a missed piece. I think our culture accepts the stress level that we have, which is absolutely crazy. Your body is more sensitive to stress now in perimenopause than it ever has been. So little things matter. Breath work, meditation, short breaks throughout the day. It can really reset your cortisol patterns. We want to prioritize sleep hygiene. We want to prioritize dark, cool rooms to sleep in, winding down before bed, magnesium before bed. Like without sleep, nothing else works. So it needs to be a priority. And pretty soon here, actually, when does this episode go live? I will have details. It might even be live. Check healthfulpursuit.com/make. We've been working on a sleep solution that is insanity awesome. I don't know if it'll be live when this episode goes live. I'm probably going to do a whole episode on it because I have so many thoughts on it, but go ahead and check to see if it's live. And if it is, and you're struggling with sleep, you just need it. Like it's incredible. Yeah, just crazy. So let's talk about environmental factors. So hormone disruptors are everywhere. Plastics, pesticides, fragrances. There we go, Leanne, fragrances. So reducing your exposure gives your body like less noise to shuffle through. It's going to lower your sex hormone binding globulin. So the hormones that you do have, you can use. These are all very good things. So a really, really good book on this, I'm actually going to look it up. Estrogeneration. It was one of the best books that I've ever read on estrogen issues. I don't even know when it was released. It was a while ago that I read this, but it is so incredible. It is fantastic. It is the best estrogen book that I know of. So Estrogeneration by Anthony G.J. PhD. Incredible stuff, and talks about xenoestrogens, the impact. Really, really good. So here's how all this fits together. Peptides are like the GPS system, guiding your body back to balance and reminding it how to function. But nutrition, movement, stress management, sleep, like that's the fuel, the vehicle, the road. You need both. I don't know about you. I use GPS for everything. So when you combine all of this, everything shifts. Your workouts finally produce results again. Your cravings feel manageable. Your mood steadies. Your sleep becomes restorative instead of elusive. That's really when you stop feeling like you're fighting your body and you start feeling like, wow, yeah, we can do this. We can do this. And I really, really, really felt that when I started Fit Peptide. Like I really noticed a difference, which is why I speak so highly of it. Many of my clients notice a difference. It's the one that I would recommend over and over and over again without pause. So the truth, my friend, perimenopause is not the end of anything. May feel like it. It's really just a transition. And like all transitions, it asks us to show up differently. So your body's adapting. It's not broken, but if you look at it from a place of, here's what I used to do, this is not working, therefore I am broken, you will feel broken. But we still can really feel clear, strong, and grounded again. It just takes a different approach. So we've talked about the science of what's happening, how hormones like estrogen and progesterone swing up and down and up and down, and cortisol gets louder and metabolism shifts and muscles need way more protection. We've talked about how lifestyle foundations like protein and strength training, sleep, and stress regulation really set the stage for our ability to stay stable. Stability is the name of the game when it comes to perimenopause. We've talked about peptides, which are those tiny, powerful messengers that can remind your body of how to function its best. And the peptides that we talked about are lean, fit, calm, focused, and hydrated. I didn't give a major shout out to energized only because I don't think that this massively fits in the conversation of perimenopause. It's basically a peptide that we can use in the afternoon to boost energy. But I think for perimenopause, you're better off doing the opposite, like the calm, the focus, the fit, the lean, the hydrated before playing around with energized, because we know that the energy is likely not ideal because the nervous system is dysregulated. So I would far prefer you do like a calm product before an energized product if I had to choose. So these peptides are science-backed. They're bioactive signals that partner with your biology in a way that feels and is sustainable. So together with the right lifestyle support, they really help you navigate that roller coaster and create that stability. So if you're like, man, she just talked about a lot of things, I don't even know what I need, you can go to healthfulpursuit.com/quiz. I've put together a bunch of questions that you can fill out. I'll personally go through them and text you. That's why you give me your number so I can text you and just say like, hey, I read through all your stuff. Here are the peptides that I would recommend. I go through the quizzes every couple of days. So expect to hear from me in like 2 to 5 business days or so. It's quick for you to fill out. It's super insightful. And then once I go through it, I'll text you of the peptides that match your unique needs. So it's healthfulpursuit.com/quiz. I'll include that link in the show notes. So you have that along with all the other resources. I really just want you to feel like you don't have to do this alone. I am experiencing what you're experiencing. You don't have to feel like you're fighting your body. It's just different and you get to support it in a different way. So let's reset your biology together and know that it'll be okay. It's just going to be a little bit different. Okay, I will see you back here for another episode. Again, it's healthfulpursuit.com/quiz for the peptide quiz. And if you want to check out the peptides themselves, it's healthfulpursuit.com/make for that. Okay, I will see you back here next week for another episode. Bye. Thanks for listening to the Healthful Pursuit Podcast. Join us next Tuesday for another episode of the show. If you're looking for free resources, there are a couple of places you can go. The first to my blog, healthfulpursuit.com, where you're going to find loads of recipes. The second is a free parasite protocol that I've put together for you that outlines symptoms, testing, and resources to determine whether or not you have a parasite, plus a full protocol to follow to eradicate them from your life if you need to. That's available at healthfulpursuit.com/parasites. And last but certainly not least, a full list of blood work markers to ask your doctor for so that you can get a full picture of your health. You can grab that free resource by going to healthfulpursuit.com/labs. The Healthful Pursuit Podcast, including show notes and links, provides information in respect to healthy living, recipes, nutrition, and diet, and is intended for informational purposes only. The information provided is not a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, nor is it to be construed as such. We cannot guarantee that the information provided on the Healthful Pursuit Podcast reflects the most up-to-date medical research. Information is provided without any representation or warranties of any kind. Please consult a qualified health practitioner with any questions you may have regarding your health and nutrition program.